Welcome back to Dynamic Homeschool. In this video, I want to talk about flexible jobs for homeschooling parents. Or I guess if you're just a stay-at-home mom, this would work too, but I'm really focused on homeschooling parents because we're always looking for ways to continue to homeschool and bring in a little cash for our families. So if you're interested in that, then stay tuned. Okay, so before I even dive into some of these jobs, I really have some questions that you need to ask yourself that I thought of them. I'm sure you're going to think of them. We're all very smart. But I'm just going to ask them anyways. So the number one is, are you ready for your workday to be longer? If you haven't seen how I homeschool and work at the same time video, I'll put that up below. I talk about some ways that I have found that allows me to part-time work and homeschool. So check that out for some tips maybe. I might do another one now that I'm 3 years into working and homeschooling, but for now that'll work. So the first question is, are you ready for your workday to expand? Because let's be honest, you have to expand your thinking of what your workday is, because as we're homeschooling, that is work. And then we're doing a different type of work on top of that, on top of keeping our household running and clean and tidy. So that would be number one. Number two is, how much time do you have to dedicate to working? Because that will really tell you which jobs are going to be the best for you. And also maybe put into perspective how much you're really going to be bringing in and if it is worth working for you. Number three is, what are you willing to give up? Is that time away from your child? Because as we're homeschooling, we do like being with our children and we want to do life with them. But to work, we might have to be away from them for a time. And are you okay with that? Do you have somebody who can watch them while you are away? And then also very much talk to your spouse, because now they, on top of their job, are picking up part of the household duties. The next one is, what can you streamline inside your house? So before you start working, what are some things you can streamline? For example, maybe you I haven't hired a maid, but maybe you hire a maid to come in and they'll tidy up your home a little bit because you don't like that aspect. Maybe you will pay another homeschooling mom to teach your children, or maybe you parent with another homeschooling mom part of the time, where you watch their kids some days and they'll watch yours some days, so you can each work knowing your kids are taken care of. Maybe subscriptions like the Walmart subscription, where you can go and have your groceries delivered instead of having to go all the way in town if that's not somewhere where you're working. Just being able to pick up your groceries. Maybe you start ordering online, so you're not wasting time walking around the store. You can do that at nighttime when you're watching TV, and it's your dual purpose. The next is, consider looking at your calendar and batching home activities together. So for example, when I pick up groceries on my way home. So maybe the day that you do groceries or you grocery shop will have to change depending on your work schedule. So that way you're doing it already while you're out in town and you're not driving home and driving back. Now that those questions are out of the way, let me tell you, there is someone somewhere in your city that will pay for something that you have to offer. It might not be a full-time gig, and it might be something that you do once a week, but there is somebody. If you don't have to have some fancy skill, there is somebody out there that is willing to pay for something that they don't want to do. Like I said, you could hire a maid. You could be the maid for somebody else that goes once a week to clean somebody else's house. You could go and clean Airbnbs once a week or twice a week or for a couple hours and make a little bit of money because somebody else doesn't want to do that. I would say next is be flexible and think outside the box. This really goes back to expanding your workday. Don't think about your day ending at 4 o'clock. Think of it as I have all the way until 7, and then you'll work out and then you'll go to bed. And so you have all that time. Manage your time is what I'm saying. And I don't want you to fill it, because then you're stressed and it's hard to enjoy the homeschooling aspect of being home. But you definitely have to schedule and get a planner and plan it out. So let's go on to a list of jobs that I've thought about that would help with homeschooling moms. Number 1 is tutoring. If you're really good at math, if you're really good at science, if you're really good at reading, offer that. And that's not only to other homeschool families, that is to public school students as well. There are parents out there who will pay for that. This could also not only be your core subjects, this could be piano, violin, jiu-jitsu, anything that you have a skill in, sewing, any of those you can offer. The next is an at-home daycare. Now, there are some homeschooling families, I'm sure, that run an at-home daycare. I tried to run one and then I got my job, but you could run one and you only offer it. I had a drop-in child, another homeschooling family, but she needed her to have some other friends because there weren't really friends in her neighborhood. And she just wanted some time to clean her house or sleep or do whatever she wanted. She just wanted a break. So she would come over and hang out with my kiddos, and then they would come back and pick her up. So you could offer just a drop-in for older other homeschool families. Another thing really goes back to tutoring, but would to be run a class on something that you know, like sewing. I'm a bookkeeper, and so I've thought about offering a bookkeeping class, which could introduce other students and other high schoolers into this field, into the accounting field, and see if it's something that they like. You could offer art classes. I know we have a lady here who does art once a week. You could also world geography, electrical, home education, anything within that you know how to do, you could offer, and I'm sure there's people out there who will pay for it, especially homeschoolers. The other thing is pet sitting and dog sitting. If you like animals and you feel like you have a house for that, you can offer that. Next is DoorDash, Amazon delivery. You could cut lawns, weed eat. You could do before and after care at your house, so that gives you time during the school day. You could bake goodies and meals. I know that there are people who, like Filipino people, Mexican, they are really good at making that authentic food, and so they will offer that to their local community for a price. So much healthier than trying to go to a fast food. You could wash and fold laundry for people. This really goes back to streamlining, and some people will pay if that means they could get a couple hours at work if they didn't have to do laundry. Car detailing, and last would be a Spark delivery driver for Walmart. Now, some jobs that I think are less flexible, but again, this goes back to thinking outside the box, rearranging and streamlining your schedule, virtual assistant, or just an assistant to somebody, a bookkeeper, an office admin person. Maybe you only go in for a couple hours. Customer service. This could be, it could be for a small business. I find there are lots of customer service call center jobs that could be at nighttime when your kids are sleeping. Large box retail stores, I will say Walmart here is really good at working around people's schedules. They really need people, and so they seem to be very flexible in what hours you would need. Last would be a paralegal or delivering newspapers. Those are some of the flexible but requires you to manage your time and might dictate part of your schedule. So if you have any others for any other homeschooling moms, or you know a place that's hiring that's great for homeschooling moms, please put it down below for my small, tiny, wonderful community, so we can bring in a little bit of extra money, but we can still homeschool our kids, because that is so vitally important to the next generation. If you have any questions, let me know. Happy homeschooling.